Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever it is you're watching this from. You've got me on a slightly different surroundings this time. Usually I'm in front of a perfect white wall, but over the last couple of days I've been very, very ill. We've got some of you coming in. I've been very, very ill. Violent vomiting and diarrhea, sorry for the graphics, but I'm now actually on a drip here. So I thought it would be interesting to sit here. Obviously I'm not going to take the day off. I will always be here for you guys to answer your questions, but yeah, I'm getting fully detoxed here. This is something that you're able to do in a few countries. Allow your body, give it everything it needs to help cleanse, help recover fully. So this is really, really important for me at the moment. I spent the entire weekend kind of unable to drink, unable to eat, because I wasn't able to actually put anything in my stomach without vomiting. So there we go, we've got people coming in. If you've got any questions about this, then do shoot. Obviously these live Q&As are about questions on fitness, questions on nutrition, questions on your training, whatever else you need. This one is a specific one. Again, we're filming it for YouTube, so if you don't already follow the YouTube channel, get on over there and look for Ultimate Performance on YouTube. Plenty of content already up there. We've got videos on how to warm up, gone up. We've got barbell only videos, dumbbell only videos, all sorts of things going on. So do get on over there. Joshua Hornby, best food for gut health. In my experience, the best food for gut health has always been fats. Fats are very, very nourishing for the gut, and I think it's something that a lot of us are deficient in, certainly healthy fats. So I would say best food for gut health is going to be fats. Avocados, coconut oil as well, stuff like that. Plenty of you coming in. Remember, anything you see on today's live feed, you can go to upfitness.com. You can check out any of the articles, information that we have for you on there. Again, it will be recorded for YouTube, so you can get on over there for a second chance if you missed this one. Anito, hello. Fit for Life by Alonzo. What's the difference between calculating macros according to kilograms versus pounds? The only difference there is that kilograms are, well, pounds are 2.2 times kilograms. So depending on how you're going to do it, you've just got to start off with a certain point. If you want to do it with kilograms, calculate it based on the kilogram equation. If you want to do it with pounds, then do it with pounds. Just make sure you get your conversion right. Emma Dixon, hello. We've got plenty of you coming in. Robbie Podmore, hello again. We've got quite a few of you on here from the Live Up forums, a lot of our Live Up members, so do introduce yourself when you're here. Let everybody know what you think of the Live Up program, your opinions on it so far and your experiences. What does press ups on a spin bike do for you? Press ups on a spin bike, Bazanam, makes you look like an idiot, basically. Spinning classes are fun, they're a great atmosphere, they're active, they make you work hard, but are they going to do you much good? Not necessarily. I used to teach them myself, don't get me wrong, I used to teach 4 hours a week. And I'll be honest, I loved it, but it dramatically affected my leg training. I was massively overtraining at the time. I could get away with it when I was younger. I couldn't do it now. But it's just about general movement. If you can control yourself on a spin bike, then I don't necessarily have an issue with you moving on it, but most people who do spinning classes don't have the proprioception to actually be able to control themselves on top of the bike. Miss Hartley, hello. Miss KP, what's up, what's up? Plenty of you coming in. Sudhir, just want to know how many times a week we can hit a particular muscle. Depends on the muscle, Sudhir. Smaller muscles you can probably hit slightly more frequently because it takes them a bit less time to recover. However, I wouldn't hit them that hard in a session. So for instance, your shoulders you can probably hit 3 times a week, but don't go to crazy volume within that session. Whereas your legs, if your recovery is fairly standard, 1 to 2 times per week is enough. If you have great recovery, even then I would be surprised if you can hit 3 times a week, so just be aware of that. Deb Louise, hello. If I want to improve the quality of my personal training, is there a course you can recommend for program management to help improve client results? Gift hearts, the first things I would say is grab the 2 books that we have just written. You can get the meal plan one on pre-order, but we've also written a book on program design, the principles of muscle building. You can go onto the website and order both of them. They're also available on Amazon. So first port of call would be to get them. They're not an expensive course. It's going to cost you about 25 quid for both books, and they are part of a 4-part series. So get involved in that. That's going to be a really, really good, useful one. Secondly, for me, with regards to coaching and learning how to manage your clients, precision nutrition was very, very useful. And on a third note, no course is ever going to teach you more than experience will. The more gym hours you can put in, the more effort you can put in, the more clients you have, the better. So I do bear that in mind. I'm just going to switch the light on for when the sun starts to go down. Right. Jerkadet, starting in the fitness PT industry, what commercial gym would you start at in London? Does it matter? Every gym has different types of demographics. Which one would you recommend? Jerkadet, that's a really difficult question. I wouldn't necessarily recommend one or the other. What I would recommend is surround yourself by as many personal trainers and as many clients as you can, because you will learn from the better ones, you will learn from the worst ones, you will learn from the challenging clients, you will learn from the easy clients. Surround yourself with as many people as you possibly can and learn from as many of them as you possibly can. Don't look at your PTs, don't look at other PTs within the gym as your competitors. Look at them as people who you can learn from. That's the key. So which gym? There isn't really an answer to it. Just go to the one where it may seem counterintuitive, because obviously you want to have a monopoly, right? A lot of people decide when they train as PTs to go off on their own. They want to be a one-man band. They want to do everything alone. That's not the way to do it, because then you are just teaching yourself. You're not learning from other people's experience, other people's mistakes. So do remember that. Surround yourself with as many people as possible. So just go and find the busiest gym with both people and PTs. Fit for Life, been trying to do the Principles of Muscle Building Volume 1. It's great so far. Awesome, Fit for Life, thank you. So yeah, that's a great book. You can get onto upfitness.com, you can order that one, and you can pre-order the new meal plan book now, which is just finishing up. Jock Grant just signed up for the 12-week online personal training program yesterday. Looking forward to getting started. Awesome. Welcome to the team, Jock. I will see you personally in the forums. Mrs. Hartley, should I be doing cardio as well as weights for fat loss? It can certainly be beneficial, yes. How much depends on how much fat you have to lose, how much time you have. Weight training is always going to be your most effective way of dropping body fat, because the more muscle you have, the faster your metabolic output is going to be. But how much? Let's say 2 to 3 sessions a week should be adequate. I personally prefer to do it in the morning before breakfast. Get up, have some water, have some branched chain amino acids and essential amino acids, then get out and go for a walk, a fast walk, not just a plod. Robbie, recently finished 12 weeks one-to-one training with UP Fitness, blown away by the results and recommend everyone to get involved. Thank you, Robbie. That's an awesome little review. I love that. Nicole Smith, hello. Bazanam, thanks for that. Solved an argument. You're welcome. Not a problem. Plenty of you coming in. Sirio, hey, my partner has just left me and she has completely thrown me. I've lost 2 stone in 3 weeks. I need the gym for something to focus on. Shall I leave the cardio for now? Firstly, I'm sorry to hear that. That sucked, but this is usually, for 99% of people, is a massive turning point. You know, it's usually a breakup. It's usually that point where we're feeling insecure, we're feeling a little bit upset, we're feeling a little bit hurt. That can be the most beneficial time for us, so use it. Get in the gym, get in the weight section, and use a little bit of that aggression to really, you know, benefit you somehow. That's going to be very, very important for you. So do get into that. Stick to the weights for now. Insta James, what volume would you recommend for training shoulders twice a week for size? Insta James, it depends on your recovery, it depends on your body type. I would suggest for most people, let's say if you're picking your deltoids and training all 3 heads, I would say maybe 12 sets per week you can get away with. So whether that's a couple of exercises, you know, 3 sets of 2 different exercises per workout twice a week is a good way. But I would say around 12 sets is going to be adequate for most people. Doug, do you have a recommendation for training session in this heat wave? It will be 37 degrees here tomorrow and the gym has no air conditioning. Dodge, welcome to my world. That's basically what my day-to-day is. The only recommendation there is stay hydrated. Take electrolytes, are going to be very, very useful to you, very useful indeed. So I would highly recommend that. That's about as much as there is to say. You know, it's going to be a challenge. We work out here in Marbella every single day. It's 37 degrees. The gym's got no air conditioning, but we get through it, right? You just got to suck it up. You're going to be warm. You're going to get yourself in the zone. Just stay hydrated. Hello, Francesca. Hello. Craig, PT. Do UPs trainer programs for their clients, or is there a set plan they are given from someone higher up in the company? And if they do, does UP recognise this as work time to write the program? No, so on the one-to-one online training or the training in the gym, every single program is written custom to that client based on the PAR-Q, based on interviews and feedback that have just been given. So everything is specific, and yes, that is counted as work time. You know, it can take up to a week at times, depending on the client, to write that program. That is not something that is easy. It's not something that passes. No problem. Give me 2 seconds, folks. I'm just going to pause this. I will be back in 2 moments. I've just got to speak to the doctor a second.
Right. Just be told, man. Be told I don't like to give in the vein. Yeah?
Yep.
Then you have a little bit of reaction, so I better put it in the muscle. Doesn't hurt normally. That's it.
Awesome. Thank you. Right folks, so what I just had to break for there was a B12 injection. So as I say, I've been on a drip, just as the doctor has been here right now with everything, because I got very sick this weekend. Food poisoning, and I didn't want to leave you guys hanging, so I've stayed here, got the drip given to me at home. A massive detox drip, and he's just given me a jab of B12 just off camera there, so that is all set now. Hopefully in a few hours I'll be feeling $1 million again, everything back. Back to that last question, Craig PT. Yes, it takes time for the PTs to write the programs. They are very specific. It's about going through the client's history and designing something that's very specific to them. So yes, it does take time. Edu, agreed, surrounding yourself with PTs and clients. Edu, one of our very awesome trainers, so go give him a follow, and a good friend of mine. What is the ideal volume, reps, sets and exercises for a workout or for each muscle group? Dandon, I have found personally over the last 10, 12 years that the optimal amount of sets and reps, let's say sets I'm going to stick to rather than reps, is between 9 and 12 sets. For people with fairly standard recovery, 2 seconds folks. Thank you.
Always call me by this number, yeah?
Awesome, got it. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Definitely.
Yes, it is. Thank you, sir. Bye-bye. There we go, you see, this is the thing, live TV right there. For me, I have always found that the optimal number of sets and reps for most people with standard recovery, which is most of you out there, is about 9 to 12 sets per week per muscle group. That can potentially be a bit lower for legs, maybe 6 to 9. Again, dependent on your nutrition, dependent on your rest, dependent on your recovery, your stress levels. But 9 to 12 is a good ballpark. Now that may not seem like much, but if you are not exhausting yourself in the sessions by doing way too much volume, what you'll find is that you're actually lifting much more weight and you are progressing much faster through that weight over time. So 9 to 12, maybe on the higher side of that 15. Now, of course, a lot of the articles you read out there are going to be based or written by assisted bodybuilders. Bodybuilders who have chemical enhancement, bodybuilders who are taking in a lot of stuff to help them recover far faster than a normal human being. Do remember that. While I'm here folks, just if you are joining on YouTube, you'll have already seen this. Folks, if you're just joining on Instagram, the reason we've got a change of surroundings here is I've just had a big drip. I've been very sick, so do bear with me. If I'm a little bit ropey today, my brain's not firing on all cylinders. Sudhir, does taking cardio every day or day after will be, let me read that one again. Does taking cardio every day or day after day will be more beneficial? Either every day or day after day. I would suggest just go for a walk in the morning. I take it regularly, but does it have any side effects on the knee joints? It depends how you're doing it. If you're running, then yes, potentially it will have side effects on the knee joints. I'm not a massive fan of running unless you're running on sand or soft grass. But if you're going for a fast walk, which is what I recommend personally, and I recommend on the Live Up programs, I recommend people get up in the morning at least 2 or 3 times a week and go for a really fast walk before breakfast. Simple as that. That's enough cardio for me. MDeb, how long does it take for someone to be assigned and respond for online training? It very much depends, MDeb. We try to allow a week, but a lot of it is down to the client, because obviously when you make your purchase, we send you a lot of paperwork that we need you to fill in. Now, if you don't fill that in quickly enough, then obviously from the point of purchase to when you will end up getting your program, that's obviously going to be an issue. Now, if you submit your PARQ to us, it's me personally who does the signing. So if you have submitted your PARQ in full and on time correctly, then you will be assigned a trainer within 24 hours. That trainer will then get in touch with you, get some more information off you if needs be, and you will have your program within 5 to 7 days we aim for. Quite often it's quicker, but as I say, it takes a good amount of time for our trainers to create that program for you. It's not something that we just pull out of our ass. It's not something that we just make up. It's not something that we just print off the internet. Now, this is one of the things that a lot of you out there have to understand about the difference between someone like Ultimate Performance and various other online trainers out there. We do not just take programs off the internet and palm them off on you, okay? So remember that does take time. Chris Arpino, Elliot, I'm coming up with my last 4 weeks of the Live Up. What are the options for continuing on after I finish? I love the accountability and check-ins for motivation to stay on track. Folks, anyone who wonders who Chris Arpino is, you will have seen his incredible, basically 4-week transformation on the Live Up programs. Get over there and give him a follow. Great guy and ambassador for Live Up. Chris, in answer to your question, at the end of the 12 weeks, we move into specialization phases. So you get to choose whether you train, let's say, back or shoulders or arms or legs, and we specifically try and build those points. Now, every 4 weeks, when you get to the end of one specialization, you can move on to another phase of specialization, so you choose how then to build your body. Over time, that library will build up and we will continue to progress. Mayzilla, hello. Dave Fit, hello. Mrs. Leach, hello. Hope you feel better. Chlamydia is a bitch. It's always you, isn't it, Mark? Always. You're a funny guy, aren't you? Honestly, you're the same in the forum. Constant comedy. Struggling to understand the difference in supersets. Some say perform 2 exercises back to back, rest and repeat. The principal's book says superset is 2 different movements with a rest in between each. Okay, so what you're talking about, Laura, is they are both still supersets. One of them is just an antagonistic superset, and it's down to the trainer or your prerogative whether you choose to rest in between them. Now, often with something like German body composition, which is the kind of principles that are used with most fat loss workouts, because they are big movements, such as, let's say, a squat and a pull-up would be paired together, you are going to need a little bit of rest in between them in order to get the best out of each one of those sets. They are still supersets, but they're just different types of supersets. An antagonistic superset is opposing muscles or something like that, whereas a common superset that most people think of is, let's say, bicep training. They do a bicep curl straight into a, I don't know, say preacher curl, something like that, dumbbell bicep curl into preacher curl. That would be a superset, potentially with no rest or about 10 seconds rest. So they are still supersets. Don't let them confuse you. Favorite exercise for female body composition, specifically glutes and deltoids. No 2 together, but if it was glutes, I would suggest a hip thrust, barbell hip thrust, shoulders on a bench, and go nice and heavy. Just make sure execution is correct, so there's a posterior pelvic tilt. I have done a video on that on my profile, and it is over on the Live Up Online profile as well. And for deltoids, for me, for almost everyone, favor the rear delts. So what I would do for most females, and again an exercise that is in all of the Live Up programs for females, is a 45-degree dumbbell lat raise. 45-degree because it basically puts your body in the correct position for it to be extremely difficult to get a lat raise wrong. And it's quite a hard exercise to get right for most people because of tightness, because of proprioception, because of a neural ability to do so. So 45-degree bench, lifting the arms up out to the side. That's going to fire up your medial delt and your rear delt. So it's a really nice all-round delt exercise for me. If I can remember, I will film a video on it tomorrow and I'll post it up for you all to check out. Butterflies, add me to the forum. If you are one of our Live Up members, you have purchased a program, then of course I will add you to the forum. If not, no, because it's private. Do you ever paid cardio intervals with a weight session? I'm assuming that's pair cardio intervals within a weight session, or do you keep them strictly separate? Depends on the client you fit. If, let's say, we're only seeing a client 3 times a week, then we would probably weight train them for hard as hell, for 50 minutes, and then maybe do an interval blast at the end for about, let's say, 10 to 15 maximum. But on the whole, if I can, me personally, I like to split them up. Why? Because it allows you to maximize the intensity there and then. Okay, you're going to get, the client is going to get the most out of that session. If they are, you know, if you've got someone doing a 45-minute weight training session and they get halfway through, just as they get tired and think, oh shit, I've still got to do my intervals at the end of this, you watch their intensity drop. It's not a physical thing, it's a mental thing. Whereas if they think it's just 45 minutes, I'm going to hit it hard, I'm going to get through it, then I'm going to go rest, I'll do my intervals tomorrow. For me, that's the lesser of 2 evils. However, if you're only limited to 2 or 3 hours a week, then yeah, tag them on to the end, but still try to keep your sessions within an hour. Can I do Live Up if I only have available Olympic weights, dumbbells, and a TRX? Armand, you would really struggle because it does need quite a lot more equipment. If you are very smart and you can think on your feet, then you could adapt it. We won't do that level of customization for you on Live Up for just £50 a month. You would have to go to one-to-one online training, in which case, yes, we can absolutely customize everything you need. So that's not an issue at all. Thanks, man, your answer was great, no problem. Blake, hello. Laura, okay, thanks. At the gym, I've been doing squats straight into bench press. So these 2 movements too heavy to do together. I'm just starting squatting 30 and benching. They're big movements, to see how you go. I would certainly say take at least between 10 and 30 seconds break between them, but if you're squatting and benching, the chances are you're moving to 2 different pieces of equipment, so you're gonna have that rest anyway, so that's probably about right. Even though feeling sick, your responses are great for us. I appreciate that. Thank you so much for your valuable suggestions, mate. Get well soon. No problem, Sudhir, and thank you for your kind words. Interestingly enough, and this is why I wanted to do this trip, so I was feeling absolutely horrible for the last 2 or 3 days, and I think over the last, I'm going to say 4 to 5 weeks, my immune system has been, I've been getting sick pretty regularly. I haven't been sleeping enough. I've been doing too much other stuff. My brain has not been where it should have been. You know, I've not been focused. So it's very, very important. This is why I had this drip. I've had a doctor come to my house today and put in a drip full of glutathione, vitamin B6, vitamin B12, magnesium, calcium, the whole works. So fingers crossed within the next few hours I'm going to be feeling $1 million. So I'm still with you, I'm still with you. And as always, I made a promise at the beginning of this year that I would not miss a live feed with it as long as I was still alive. And alas, I am still alive, thankfully, so here I am. Chris Alpino, I tend to do 30 minutes fast walking-ish after my weights day, which helps me get around 18 to 20 steps per day. Is there a point where you can do too much cardio? Absolutely, yes, there is a point. Because if you're A, burning too many calories, and B, you are potentially elevating cortisol levels. Cortisol can break down muscle tissue. You've got to remember that. So you could be doing too much. Now, Chris, would you remember we're now trying to feed you up, specifically you on the live up. We've got you super lean. We're trying to feed you up a bit to get your muscles working harder. So don't go crazy with it. Don't go crazy with it. You know, rather than doing that every day, I would maybe cut your big step days down to like maybe 3 a week maximum. Jerkinette, will the new book be available at Ultimate Performance in London from the 30th of July as well? I don't want to wait for delivery, hopefully get well soon. It depends if they have them in stock there. What we try to do, obviously, because the last one sold out at an unbelievable speed. The Principles of Muscle Building sold out at a crazy, crazy, crazy speed, and for good reason. Now, because of that, obviously, Nick has put the second one, the meal plan guide, on pre-order. You guys have priority, basically. Everyone who has pre-ordered is going to get theirs first. Now, this, excuse me, may mean that they're not in the gyms as fast as people are getting them delivered. So do bear that in mind. Your best bet is to get onto the website, upfitness.com, and pre-order that book. And then you're going to be in one of the first to get it delivered when they come in. John Vand, what's up? Lorraine Jepson, thank you very, very much. How do I know what weight to start lifting with? Kendall, it's going to take a little bit of trial and error. What I would suggest for most people is to lift for whatever rep parameters you are choosing. Work out what you can do and stop 2 reps short of failure. Now by that I mean technical failure. I don't mean you wiggling around on a bar, blah, 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 blah. I mean you stopping 2 reps short of where your form starts to fall, but you should be really, really challenged. So let's say you're doing 8 reps. You pick a weight that you could probably just by a skin of your teeth do 10 with. That's probably going to be about the right weight, and that applies to every single muscle group across the board. IV drip is now out. It is out. I've got some plasters on my arm. It is out, but I'm going to now reach for my electrolytes wherever they are. They're just here. Again, one of the things you've got to remember is if you've been sick, if you've had diarrhea, you've had vomiting, of which I've had for the last 48 hours, always remember to top up your electrolytes. You can get these from pharmacies, just mix them with water, pop them in. Alternatively, remember that Amplify, our BCAA, our branched chain amino acid supplement, is ram-packed full of electrolytes for exactly that reason. When you are training and sweating, you are losing minerals. When you're losing minerals, your body is going to stop operating properly. Secondly, muscular contractions, they're going to take calcium, potassium, things like that. You are going to be able to contract, train, squeeze, and grow better by making sure your electrolytes are always full. This is especially true for anyone who is now in, you know, summer. Certainly here, I started sweating in about February and I haven't stopped since. So do remember that, top up on your electrolytes. This is why we've put so much of it in Amplify. So get over there onto upfitness.com and check that out. Chris Alpino, done. Thanks so much. So much clearer now. One last question. When I squat very low, my knees bend in on the way up. More so to right. Is there a reason or a way to rectify it? Yeah, potentially your glutes are a little bit weak. Now, this is a bit of a funny situation for me because you need to get your glutes active. What you should be thinking about when you're squatting, all of you out there, no matter how strong, no matter how experienced you are, you should be thinking about spreading the floor. So when you are squatting, your main thought with your foot position is think about pushing the floor outwards. Okay, that in turn is going to drive the knee outwards. That in turn is going to innervate the nerve or innervate the muscle in the glutes slightly better. It's going to teach you to be slightly more powerful in the squat. Now, if one is coming out more than the other, or one is coming in more than the other, it could mean that you've got a weaker glute on that side. Now, this is not to say that your legs coming in a little bit is a bad thing. You have your adductors, you have your hamstrings, they are going to pull on the squat and they are going to slightly jerk the knee in a little bit. It's okay, it's not the end of the world, but if it's driving right in really, really badly, that is a problem. Your thought pattern when you are squatting, drive the knees out hard and separate the floor with your feet. I wake up every night needing the loo. without fail around 3 a.m. Could this be due to raised cortisol? Between 1 and 3 a.m. is usually some issue with detoxification. So it could be a liver problem more than anything. I mean, are you able to get back to sleep afterwards? If you can get back to sleep afterwards, then there's a good chance that it's not cortisol. For me, that would suggest that you have some small issue with detoxification. It's when your liver is basically trying to clear everything out of your body. Getting up once is pretty normal, everybody does it. Getting up twice, potentially for people who drink plenty of water. If you're up and down and up and down and up and down all night, then that's a problem. However, if you're just getting up about the same time, about 3 a.m., that is your liver clearing things out. It's not necessary to say there's something wrong. However, it may be worth giving it a little help. You can take milk thistle. It's important to drink a lot of water. You can take glutamine, which is going to help your body create its own detoxification hormone, glutathione, which is what I've just been injected with, one of the many things I've just been injected with, so that can really, really help. So that's a good sign that your liver may need just a little bit of help clearing itself. This can happen because of, you know, if you've been eating a lot of chemically enriched foods all of your life, processed foods, if you drink a lot of alcohol, dare I say, if some of you take narcotics, things like that can cause a real problem, and your liver really, really struggles with that. Even caffeine can also clog it up after a while, so back off. Just support it with milk thistle, something like Live 52 even, and plenty of water. Mr. H, how does the training program in the Principles of Muscle Building compare to the Live UP program? They're very, very different. Very, very different goals, very, very different things. If strength is a goal after a good strength phase and deload week, would you go straight into another hard strength phase with different lifts, or would you put something else in between? I would suggest you fit, I believe you're a PT, right? So you're a fairly experienced lifter. I would go straight back into the heavy stuff. If strength is your overall goal, then for me, one of the best programs you'll ever do is Jim Wendler's 531. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant program. And for probably the first 2 to 3 months, it feels light. But if you're smart enough to play the long game, over time, it's one of the most effective programs I've ever used for either males or females to get them strong as shit. So try that. And that is just a case of, you know, I think every 4th week is a deload week, but then you're straight back in to the progression. Goran, you're probably squatting too deep, or your form is incorrect. Highly unlikely, but possibly an option. To me, I think it's a little bit more simple than that. What are your thoughts about artificial sweeteners, the influence to health and fat loss? It's more artificial sweeteners, it's the fact that it's the chemicals. Now, if the chemicals, you're taking in a lot of chemicals in your body, you're going to elevate estrogen, elevate estrogen, which is going to cause various symptoms, lack of motivation, female pattern fat deposits around the hips, the waist, the thighs, the bum, the chest, the man boobs, etc. You need to try and avoid them, basically. That's the long and short of it. Try to avoid them. You want to keep foreign estrogens under control. You don't want to put any in your body, and you want to try and get as many of them out with the help of any kind of detoxification supplements, things like estro support that we have on the website. You can go over there, upfitness.com, and check that out. And that will really, really help. Artificial sweeteners, anything artificial in general, do your best to stay away from it. If you want to live well, live long, and have great body composition, then try to stay away from anything that is manufactured. Do your tattoos make it harder for you to get employed by UP? They can do, depends where they are. If you can hide them, you may not have too much of a problem. If not, then you might have an issue. Just because of the sort of clients that we work with, they're not necessarily going to feel too great about somebody covered in tattoos. Goran, what certifications do you possess? Literally all of them. Unfortunately, they are completely irrelevant, so I'm not going to sit here and go through 25 or 30 certificates. This is not an interview process, but basically every qualification there could have been at the time that I was learning. Your level 3 qualification should be enough to work as a personal trainer, I suppose. It absolutely should. And realistically, the level 3 personal trainer qualification is absolute rubbish. As it is at the moment, if you do one of those courses, my advice to you is forget everything you learnt on it as soon as you stop it. The moment you've got your piece of paper, that is when you start to learn. But that's what takes work. Awesome, thanks for your answers. You know, you're welcome. You fit? D-tie, is diet the key? Yes, indeed. Diet is the key. Diet is number 1. what do you have your peanut butter on? Bread is too carb heavy. I have it on a spoon, usually. If I was smarter and I knew how to cook properly, I would have it on chicken, like a satay or something like that. I actually put some on steak the other week, and that was really, really nice. Just because I wanted something to put on my steak. What is the difference between Quest digestive enzymes and Ultimate Performance digestive enzymes? I won't be able to answer that without having the two of them next to me right now off the top of my head. I used to use Quest, which worked brilliantly. I now use UP, which also work brilliantly. So take a bit. Laura, would resistance band help with my knee bending issue when squatting? Not necessarily. What resistance band, I think what you're getting at there is it gives you something to push against. So it will certainly help with the awareness, but there's potentially a strength imbalance there. So you would want to do some glute activation before you start. A band can help with awareness, but before you start putting resistance on there, just drop the weight and learn how to squat whilst keeping your knees out from the very beginning. Separate the floor with your feet, push your knees out hard. Goran, thanks dude, you're a very informative. Cheers. No problem, Goran. Welcome to the live feeds. I believe it's the first time I've seen you, so welcome and hope to see you again. What are your thoughts on the vertical diet? I don't have many thoughts on it at the moment because I've not read through it in detail. However, one of our junior trainers here, Luca, is doing it and he really, really rates it. So I wouldn't be able to give you a direct answer on that just now. But you've got to remember about diets is, you know, vertical, horizontal, Atkins, whatever. It's not hard. Everyone's just trying to sell you something interesting and different. A diet is, the most important diet is the one you can stick to. That's something you all need to remember. The best diet, everybody asks me, what is the best diet for this? What is the best diet for that? The best diet is the one you can stick to, okay? That's number one. Number two, the best diet is the one where you have to restrict as little as possible. Okay, and that's not to say if it fits your macros. That's one of the worst diets going, because you should be smart enough as adults out there, you know, potentially some of you parents, to know that you should be giving yourself and your kids food. Okay, the difference is food, not products. Diets, try and let go of the notion of this diet or that diet or the other diet. Everybody is slightly different. Every diet is just a reincarnation of the same shit sold with a different package to try and make somebody else money. It may be good, it seems good, but you know, I've not looked at it in detail. As I say, one of our trainers, Luca, has used it and he's got nice and lean from it, so maybe there's something to it. What's your Basa Arianator? Welcome, Laura, you're welcome. Miss Kath, any tips for dealing with cravings for sweets around that time of the month? Yes, so basically I'll explain to you what's happening there. A number of things are happening. Number one, cortisol is shooting up. Now, one of the ways that your body has an inverse relationship between cortisol and insulin, okay? So they kind of seesaw. When one is high, the other is low. So your body is signaling to A, get cortisol down. In order to do that, it will ask you for carbs because carbs release insulin. That's mechanism number one. Number two, you become more insulin sensitive because of what's happening in your body. Your body learns how to use sugar much better at that time of the month. Okay, so your cells, your muscle cells are actually emptying of sugar better then than at any other time of the month, which essentially means that you should be eating more carbs. Okay, your body is going to use them for good, not bad. Your body is also signaling for things that help raise dopamine, serotonin, the feel-good hormones, because it knows it's not feeling great. All of these little things are chemical signals. You know, it's not an uncontrollable list, it's not a mood, blah, 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 blah. It's a signal that you need to listen to. Now, some of you out there will choose to listen to it, others out there will choose to whatever, be a bitch anyway, and ignore it and blame it on this and that and the other, when it can be fixed if you choose to fix it. Now, how to do that? Number one, plan for it. Understand when your cycle is coming and add extra carbs to your diet. The difference being, instead of having chocolate cake and chocolate bars and Haribo and ice cream, is you say, do you know what? Every day during my period, I'm gonna have 50 grams of oats for breakfast or in my final meal of the day, because that little amount of carbs is going to do you nothing but good, but it's likely to kill the cravings. It helps fix all of those mechanisms that we just talked about, the serotonin and dopamine, helps push cortisol down. It helps give your body what it needs when it's more insulin sensitive and demands more sugar. All of these things, if you give it the right, you know, you've basically just got to interpret the signal and then action it sensibly. What happens, unfortunately, is that we interpret the signal and your brain says, right, well, I don't have the good food, so what do I know? What in my brain, in my experience, is going to give me this high really, really quickly and get it to me as fast as possible? Chocolate, ice cream, sweet, shit. What then happens? You end up in a cycle of guilt, you feel bad about yourself. You know, often it's chemical stuff, so all of the problems with your hormones making you feel moody anyway, they hit you really, really hard. The way to do it is to control it, plan for it, and take in more carbs, clean carbs. Don't be afraid of them. Arinator, hello again. Brits, I've had lower back muscular issues, injuries for the last 3 years. What are your advice to build muscle under low stress at the lower back? A nice one, I mean, initially if you have back issues, depends on what they've come from and structurally what's actually going on. However, a really, really nice one to help build the erectors, to build the spine up a little bit, without compressing it, is something like goblet squats, because it's forcing your body, if the weight is here, your body's trying to pull back, okay? So it's firing up the posterior chain. Now what you can potentially do, dependent on the severity of your issue, if you're not able to progress to a front squat, what you can do is actually start taking a dumbbell or something further out in front of you, and that's going to actually fire your back up because it lengthens the lever. That's a really nice remedial exercise for back issues, and over time it will strengthen the structure. And then maybe, depending on what's actually gone on in the long term, or sorry, in the past, if you have the structural integrity to do so, you can start working on concentric and eccentric movements through the spine. So start off with things like goblet squats, and then potentially pushing the weight away from you as you're squatting, or at the bottom of the squat, and that's going to help fire up the spine that little bit more. JC Sutton, what up? Do you have any knowledge of the Bigger, Leaner, Stronger program by Michael Matthews? If so, any thoughts on it? Yes, I do, Infidel. I've got 3 of his books just down there. I've read them. I'm not impressed by them, to be honest. It's just reinventing the wheel again. Initially, don't get me wrong, it was sold well, sold very, very well. For whatever reason, it's relatively clear, it's relatively simple, but is it effective? I'm gonna say probably not. Now, a good example of that is if you are going to be able to sell 1 million books, whatever it is he sold, but out of those 1 million books, you've only got 1,000 transformations, and ropey transformations at that. I don't like those odds. Okay, I don't like those odds. That's me saying that it's been blind luck that some people have managed to get a transformation. Blind luck. That's not skill, that's not approach, it's not diet, it's not training, it's just blind luck. Whereas if you can show me someone who has 100 clients and they have got 30, 40, 50 transformations, that's not luck. That's skill, that's work. So it's one of those things. Read it, by all means, take some inspiration from it, but it's not the Bible. Put it that way. Thanks for the advice, mate. When I woke up this morning, I was super bloated and looked pregnant. Couldn't pull a vacuum at all. Diet yesterday was good and drank a decent amount of water. Any ideas? Is there anything else you changed in your diet, Chris? Armand, this is very useful and educational what you're doing, Elliot. Thank you, I hope so. That was why I chose to do it. And UP clients' results are amazing. There are very few people who are not talking shit. Thank you. Not a problem at all. I'm glad it comes through. As I say, right back on January the 1st, when I decided, you know, me and Nick spoke about this in December, and I said, right, I want to go live on Instagram every single week, basically just to get rid of the bullshit. Okay, everybody on, what really annoys me, and it really annoyed me at that time of year, is that everyone was selling some lie to get you to give them their money, or to get you to give them your money. Let's try using my brain. Everybody was selling some kind of lie for the Christmas period, thinking, right, everyone's going to be desperate, everyone's going to want a quick fix, everyone's going to go nuts. And I just wanted to be here, we wanted to be here as UP, and just say, do you know what, before you part with your money, think about it, come and ask me questions, because so much out of there is just a sales pitch. Keto diet, intermittent fasting, Atkins diet, blah, 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 blah. It's all just sales pitches. It's not that complicated. It just takes work, it takes consistency. If we can be that shining light in a dark room, then I'm totally happy and my job is done. I'm happy for that. Steph Noble, hi, what do you recommend to FST 7 training? Harry Ramble's approach for figure competitors. I believe you mean, is that it's been a long time since I read about anything like that. Is that the fascial stretch technique? And if it is, correct me if I'm wrong, because as I say, it's been about 8-9 years since I read about that. I believe there's definitely some merit in it for various reasons, because certainly if you can stretch the fascia, it gives muscle room to grow. I don't at all think it's a bad thing. I think it's very, very much worth stretching muscles, potentially during sets, but only to when you're finishing with that muscle. I wouldn't necessarily suggest doing it while you're training, because you're going to weaken the muscle. You're going to stimulate the Golgi tendon organ, you're going to weaken the muscle so you can't lift as much. And after all, real muscle growth is about progressive overload. So absolutely, when you've finished training a muscle, when you've got that mega pump, then stretch that shit out completely and stretch it out hard. I think there's definite merit in that if used correctly. So if you have any specific questions on it, that'd probably be better to fire. As I say, it would be a serious memory jog, because it's been about 8 or 9 years since I read anything about that. I remember using it briefly, and I still use, as I say, certain clients, advanced clients, I use stretch techniques on them, and it can be very, very useful. Any UP training camps coming up in London? I can't tell you off the top of my head, but if you go to upfitness.com and you go to the events section, you will be able to find out in there. That will give you the full breakdown of what we have coming up. See, everyone just saw how wrinkly my forehead is. Great bit of advice, thank you. You're welcome, Britt. What is the best course of action halfway through a 12-week transformation in terms of planning? What do you mean, what is the best course of action halfway through a 12-week transformation? Be a bit more specific on that. The question doesn't really make any sense. Awesome insight. I've had eyes on and was unsure of the hybrid program, as you say. It's very informative, but totally agree with what you are saying. Love your honesty. No problem, it's what I'm here for. No, I ate my standard daily diet set minus fruits, as you advised. Had the UP pre-bio for the first time, but wouldn't think it was that. Take it back out and see what happens. See what happens. It may have caused a bit of an imbalance between your gut bacteria, which could have caused some bloating. Now that's something that could pass after a little bit, but take it out tonight, or potentially take it in the morning rather at night. Remember, your digestive system is shutting down at night. Okay, so anything you put in can irritate it if you put it in too late, dependent on you. So maybe switch it, put it earlier on in the day, and you might not have so many problems. Steph Noble, yes. I can't see this one now because of the way I'm sitting. What advice can you give to aspiring personal trainers in regards to writing out transformation plans for clientele? Best bit of advice I can give to trainers about transformations: make sure you're writing it for that client. Understand that every single client is different. This is one thing that I think everybody does, and we look at the current trend in the fitness industry that everyone's a guru now. Everyone's an expert. Everyone wants to be, trains an athlete or trains this or trains that. And specifically, I look at people like Poliquin, and Poliquin's now getting a lot of shit because people are saying, oh, this is bollocks, that's bollocks, this bollocks. It's not bollocks. Poliquin is one of the smartest men that this industry has ever and will ever see. The difference being is that most of the idiots that went and did his course and did his course and did his course and followed him religiously for so long never listened to the context that Charles put it in. Now, Charles, if he were to say something, would never turn around and say, I trained a housewife and I gave them 35 supplements and trained them 12 times a day and blah, 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 blah. He says, I trained an NHL hockey player whose job it was to train, who was going to get a $5 million contract at the end of that training season. Okay, this person is going to do everything that is said. This person has a private chef. This person is going to take their supplements. This person is going to train as much as they need to get that £5 million. Now, the problem with, I think, what a lot of trainers do is that they take a program like that, they take something that somebody else has written for an entirely different person, and then they try to regurgitate it on, Gloria, the 45-year-old mother of 3 who's never trained before in their life. They realise it doesn't work, they probably injure someone, and they go, oh, Poliquin's a dickhead, Poliquin can't do this, Poliquin can't do that. No, you're a dickhead, because you don't listen to the context with which you are being taught. Now, this has happened across the fitness industry for decades. It continues to happen. Even some of the best trainers I know are too stupid to see that. So I think for you, and what you need to do to your clients is, number one, understand that they are individual. You have to train them. You have to write the program for them. Yes, of course, take influence from other people. Take influence from, the old saying, walk on the shoulders of giants. Take influence from people who have come before you and the information that they have. But first of all, understand it. Second of all, make your mind on how you can apply it to what's relevant. That's very, very important. And if you can do that with your program, you're set, you're done, you're 50% of the way there. The second thing, if you want to get transformations consistently, is that you have to care about getting that transformation more than that client does. You have to want it, you have to be hungry for it. If you're not hungry for it and they can't see that you're absolutely starving, living, dreaming, sleeping that transformation, they're not gonna get it. So the two things, understand what you are giving to your client and make sure it is for them. Secondly, care more than you could possibly think you need to care. One of the things, I meet with our juniors for probably anywhere between 4 and 6 hours a week in total, between team training and mentorship meetings, individual meetings. And the thing I drill into them, I want every single trainer that I teach to be considerably better than I am or ever will be. Part of that is teaching them to assess everything and care more about their clients than their clients ever will. Is to look at every program, get home on a Friday night and think, do you know what, my day isn't over. I'm gonna set aside an hour every single Friday and go through all of my programs. Is there anything here at all that I could have done better? Is there anything I need to do? Do I need to communicate more? Did the client not understand this? Are there certain telltales? How can I read between the lines? If you can learn to do that as a PT, you're going to be successful. If you can't learn to do that, you are not going to be successful. You're just going to exchange time for money. And this is 99% of the industry. That's an unfortunate fact, but it's true. Thank you. These lives are brilliant. There's lots of info. Thank you for your time. No problem, Steph. Thank you for joining. I just want to say how amazing so far. I found UP Fitness online training. I had a tremendous start for 10 days and then got super sick for 2 weeks. My trainer was in almost daily contact. Awesome. Glad to hear that, Sarah Jane. This is what we love. This is UP. This is the standards that we do our best to try to uphold. I'm starting to work as a trainer at UP in London soon. Any advice for a newbie to get ahead? My background is powerlifting, track and field. Thanks, loving the live. First of all, welcome to the team, welcome to the family. Hopefully I'll meet you soon. I'll be back and forth between the UK quite a lot over the coming months, so I have no doubt I will make sure you come up and introduce yourself, but don't expect me to recognize you because obviously all I can see is an Instagram profile picture. Work hard. Work hard, be honest, work hard. If you need help, ask for help. Don't have an ego, don't take criticism badly. Our job as your seniors, as your mentors, is to make you better than us, okay? Sometimes that's gonna seem a little bit harsh, sometimes you're gonna get a pat on the back, sometimes you're gonna get a slap in the face, you know? Our job as mentors, as senior staff, as UP trainers is to make everybody underneath us better than us. That's our goal. We will give you everything you could possibly need to do that, but you need to work. You know, you need to look at the guy next to you. Are you working harder than them? You need to look at the girl next to you. Are you working harder than them? Are you working harder than your senior? Are you working harder than Nick? If you can look at them and think, do you know what, I believe in this, I can be reliable, I can be loyal, I can be full of integrity, then you will go very, very far in this company. And this company, as a trainer, it's an amazing place to be because the world becomes yours. There is no restriction to who or what you can be within UP, the way it's growing right now. So welcome to the family. Work your tits off is my biggest bit of advice. Work your tits off. I've been trying to cut down on calories in the last few weeks to try to lose some belly fat for a holiday. Is it normal to lose some strength when lifting? Potentially, Dan, yes, but it depends on how many calories you have dropped down. You could have created too big a deficit, which is actually causing you to lose muscle as well as fat rather than just fat. So you may have created a gap that's too big from your basal metabolic rate. Hannah, hello, laugh. Brits, I'll be in Marbella in a couple of weeks. I would love to chat with a trainer about an online training program. Would it have to be booked? Yes, you can drop us an email if you go to the UP Marbella site, which is upfitness.com.es. That's .com.es. Send an inquiry via the inquiry form there, and then we'll be able to book you in for a quick chat with one of the trainers. Ben Wilton, really appreciate that, mate. No problem. Thanks. Hope to be working with you guys in the future. Fingers crossed. Cheers, Elliot. This is the first time I've been home early enough to watch live. Everyone get on the live UP. It's awesome. Absolutely damn right, Chris. You're an ambassador for it. You've worked hard. You've done exactly what is asked of you, and it shows in your body. For those of you, as I said at the beginning of the live feed, Chris Alpino is one of our guys who's only been on the Live Up program for about 6 weeks now. Insane results. Get on over there. You can find details on it on upfitness.com. Go to the online training section and you can see Live Up for women, Live Up for men. You can get details on any of them. Also go on Instagram to @LiveUpOnline, Live Up Online, and follow us over there and you'll see my daily goings on. Thanks, much appreciated. Will do, and looking forward to meeting you. Good luck. P. Walsh, thanks for the response today in my tummy issues. No problem. We will get it sorted, Paul. Paul is there referring to the Live Up forums. Every day I spend most of my time chatting to the team, chatting to the guys. We have an amazing time and there, lots of support, a few laughs, plenty of stuff about training, and basically it's no hold bars, you know. If one of us is shitting ourselves, we'll talk about it. If one of us can't get a boner, we'll talk about it. It's the same with girls. We talk about periods. We do whatever we need to do to make sure you are on track. So yeah, get over there, check it out. Live Up Online on Instagram, and go to upfitness.com and Live Up in the online training section. Alan Dublin, after the carb bootcamp ends, when training UP clients, what way do you reintroduce carbs and carb cycling? It depends on the client, Alan. Easiest way to start, if you've got a client who's been on the boot camp for about 2 weeks, is to start by adding in carbs, you know, something like a bowl of oats post-workout. That's the easiest way to start, and then see what happens. Depending on what happens, the biological feedback, what's happening with their body composition, what's happening with their training, you can potentially add more, etc. And you know, for me, if I was going to add more, it again would be slightly bigger dose after training, or it could be in the evening before bed to help them sleep. So there's a million different ways. That's kind of a how long is a piece of string sort of question. Steph Noble, pow. Electrolytes, very, very sick all weekend. Get your electrolytes in. If you're sweating a lot too. Do you skin fold test clients, and how often? Fitness Wild, yes we do, and we try to get it done once per week. The reason I prefer, and that's what I teach our juniors to do here in Marbella, to do at least once a week, is because if you do it every fortnight, clients tend to think they can usually piss around for the first week. Excuse me. They think that they can get away with the first week eating a bit of crap, because then they can dial it in the second week. So I like to do it every week because it goes very, very quickly. For me, I've always found it tends to keep clients on it a lot better. Any tips for first time competing for myself in October? Physique, honestly, no. I make no secret of it that I hate the world of fitness competition for so many reasons that I won't go into now, but I can't stand it, so I'm the wrong person to ask. The egos, the lack of concern for people's health, both physical and mental, this goes especially true for females. It's just a complete fuck up of an industry. So unfortunately, I want to answer your question, but I can't, because I'll probably swear a lot and start hurling abuse at the fitness industry for it. What do I enjoy most about working with UP? What do I enjoy most about working with UP? Working with Nick Mitchell. I'm very, very lucky because I've worked very closely with him since I started at UP 7 years ago. Certainly 3.5, 4 years here out in Marbella. And me and Nick are very, very close. You know, Nick's like a young father to me. He'd kill me if I said father. He's not old enough to be my dad, but you know, I see him as a best friend, a mentor, someone who I can always rely on. And certainly for my life, that's not often been a case for anyone, but I know I can always turn to Nick. So the most valuable part of ever working for UP for me was meeting Nick. The most valuable part for me professionally is having Nick there and learning from him day to day. Not just on, you know, back in the day, certainly when I was trying to learn everything I needed to learn about PT, and I could always ask him a question, whether it was on email, I could ask him face to face. But certainly now, as I'm maturing, you know, we bounce business ideas off each other, random ideas. It's really, really cool. So that for me has been the most valuable part, is, you know, working with Nick Mitchell. What's the most challenging aspect in regards to working UP? What is the most challenging aspect of working with UP? That's a good question. I would have said at the time, a workload, because it's not easy, it's not for the faint-hearted. You know, you've got to work hard, and a lot of people just can't step up to the plate. But as I grew up, and you know, I've always had a work ethic. You know, I would imagine most people who would try to describe me in any way, shape, or form would say he's got a serious work ethic. But there have been times when I've been exhausted, I've been challenged, and that was it was all good, because it's turned me into quite a successful human, which I like. So the workload for me, but it's not for the faint-hearted, and this is a really good thing because it weeds out the wheat from the chaff. You know, if people aren't able to step up to what is required of them within UP, then they don't last. And what that leaves us with is the absolute best. And what we've always tried to do for our clients and for you guys is provide the best information, provide the best service, provide the best results. The only way we can do that is by having the best trainers, the best staff, the best team, the best family. So it's the biggest challenge is the work level and the amount of pressure that's on you. You know, it's stressful, there's a lot of pressure, but if you can get through it, like I said before, the world is yours within UP. Steph Noble, that's brilliant. Which bit? Which bit? I would love to be really narcissistic and say, yeah, I know, it is, isn't it? It's fucking awesome. But I don't know which bit you mean. Liz, hello, how are ya? How are ya? I keep getting people requesting to be in the live videos. I'm not really sure what that even means. Someone want to explain that to me? Is that going to try and split screen? Are you asking for me to have a random conversation with you, or what's going on here? Not quite sure how that goes. Despite my entire life being spent on social media, I'm a bit of a social media phobe. I don't really know it that well. I'd make it up as I go along and do my best to read stuff about it, but I just don't understand it at all. So feel free to explain to me what's going on there, because people do it every week and I can't tell whether it's people just trying to jump in and spam. You know, do people want a bit of publicity? Do people want followers? Don't really know how it does. How many trainers are there in UP? All the gyms together. Ooh, let me think. It's got to be 200, maybe just on the high side of 200. Better question would be to ask Nick, but I would say there's going to be about 200 odd for sure. 200 to 250 staff in total. I would imagine 200 of them are trainers. Now, the interesting thing about that is anyone who's ever worked with trainers, anyone who is a trainer, anyone who has ever tried to set up a personal training business, this shows you exactly what Nick Mitchell has created and who he is. To manage 200 of the most difficult to manage human beings on the planet. Trainers are assholes. Trainers have got massive egos. Trainers don't listen. Trainers are often really, really disorganized. Yet somehow in 10 years, he's managed to create the biggest, most successful personal training business on the planet. Now, that's no mean feat. So yeah, about 200 now and rapidly growing. Another thing that's worth noting to any of you trainers out there, we are hiring in every single gym across the planet at the moment. We are trying our best to keep up with the clients coming in, but we need trainers everywhere. So if you genuinely think you have what it takes, apply. Go to upfitness.com and put your application in. You have nothing to lose but everything to gain. You can be taught by the best in the world. You can become part of the UP family. A few years, if you've got what it takes and it works, your entire life is sorted. It's done. It's dusted. You can relax. Everything is going to change for you. What are those qualities that we look for? Honesty, loyalty, integrity, a work ethic, and a willingness to learn. Okay, you don't have to have all the information right now. We will teach you exactly how to do things, but you need to have loyalty, you need to have integrity, you need to show us that you belong within the family. It's not a workplace. You need to show us that you belong within the family, okay, because this is a bigger thing for us. You have to have a work ethic, and you have to be willing to understand that if we're telling you you're doing something wrong and we're telling you a way to do it better, that's not an attack on you, that's us giving you knowledge. We want you to be better than us. So if you think you have what it takes, get on over to upfitness.com and check that out. Get on there, apply. Respect for Nick, your growth and also your tenacity, relentless work ethic, respect. He is, you know, he's an unbelievable, unbelievable man. I've always joked with him that whenever I'm getting lazy, you know, as I say, recently, I've been very, very ill. I don't seem to have been able to shake illnesses off, whether it was flu, whether it was this sickness, vomiting for the last 3 days. And my brain hasn't been working properly. I've had a lot of stress, but I always sit and think when I'm sitting down late at night, I'm just like, all right, I bet Nick's working harder than me. I bet Nick's working harder than me. It's always driven me. Yeah, the guy's an incredible, incredible man, amazing person to work for, and a very, very good friend to have. So yeah, for those of you who get the chance to meet him at any point, do. Just do. We are on our 2-minute countdown. Instagram's going to kick me off in 2 minutes. So quick fire questions now. What are the career prospects within UP? Is there scope to do more? As you say, if you are driven with a good work ethic, is that a possibility? 100% absolutely yes. There are literally no limits. If you create a role for yourself, if you show promise and potential at anything, Nick will find a place to progress you to wherever you want to go. There is no ceiling within UP. A ceiling does not exist if you can show us that you are not underneath it. What are your favorite supplements for fat loss? My favorite supplements for fat loss are a proper diet. Supplements should not be relied on in any way for fat loss. However, if I was going to give you a few, go to upfitness.com rather than me listen now. Go to upfitness.com. Go to the Live Up Essentials or the Essentials packages. You'll see on there, that will list them out. I mentioned this before, but for over 40, fat loss really affects the face. Water isn't a massive help. It's the age-old saying true about, my guess is, Goss makeup artist, you've probably drunk water for about a day and you're expecting miracles. It's going to take a little bit longer than that, unfortunately, sorry. I don't know whether Instagram just asked you to send a request. Sorry, not asking to be a part, just listening in. Oh, that explains it. I don't know why it was doing it. Brits, I have to say you seem very knowledgeable and I love to learn. Could you tell more about your personal aims to stay fit and healthy for the long term? Sleep as much as I'm able to, work allowing, and drink lots of water. That's my current aim to try and stay fit and healthy. I have a hip impingement. What can I do for legs and glutes with no low squats and deep lunges? All sorts of stuff. That's probably one for a bigger video. First of all, find out why your hip is impinged and fix that. Fix that as a matter of priority before you worry about training your legs. You don't seem like an arsehole, mate. Oh, trust me, I'm terrible. If you're doing drop sets, should you do them every working set or just your last? Just your last, Warren. 17 seconds remaining. What are the requirements to apply qualifications-wise? Just level 3 PT, but as I say, have what it takes, have those qualities. Why have you stopped doing group classes in London? Would you consider bringing them back? Yes, potentially we will at some point, but it's about space and demand. I've got 3 seconds remaining. Thank you all for coming. I will see you very, very soon. YouTube, thank you for tuning in. Apologies for the slightly different light, slightly different setup. I hope it's still been good. As you've seen, you can see me right here. I've been talking into that camera. It's the Instagram live feed on @UPFitnessLive, which I do every single Wednesday. So if you want to tune into that live and ask me questions as they go, then please do. Get on over there and check it out. Apologies for the random arms coming in. As you've seen me say a bunch of times, we're very, very sick. I've had my IV drip today just to try and get my body back on a level, to try and get my immune system back to where it needs to be. So thank you for joining. I will see you next week, hopefully. Remember, if you like this, comment on it, comment your questions, share it out on your Facebook, share it out on your Twitter, get everybody on it, because I want to make sure that everyone opens their eyes to the fitness industry and some of the potential lies that are being thrown at you. Hopefully this has helped. Peace out.